Hello, everyone, and welcome to the About Healing podcast. This is a show created for those on or awakening into their spiritual journeys who are ready, wanting, and learning how to heal themselves. I'm your host, Sheree Buckman, medium and spiritual healer. Join me as I share my unfiltered perspective in healing, creating a place of love and understanding for all, reminding us that we are in this life together and never alone in our struggles. To learn more about me and my purposeful work, visit my website at shereebuckman.com. Let's begin. Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of About Healing podcast. Hello, Copper.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing good. This is getting exciting. I'm sorry. This is my favorite time of year, so I'm always happy.
I was just going to say the same. I love this season. So,
I love it when it gets cooler and the leaves start falling and then all the different scents and flavors that come with it.
yes, agreed.
I know. And I know we talked about this in the last episode, but I can't help it. We're in the season. Here we go. So, with the season, I just want to say happy Halloween to all of those who like to celebrate Halloween. It's a really fun, kind of spooky time of year. But also, I want to talk about another celebration that happens around this time of year. Actually, it's coming up, which is the day after Halloween, and it is Dia de los Muertos. I hope I didn't butcher that. I apologize to anybody if I did not say that correctly. But this is the Day of the Dead. And I really wanted to talk about that because of the topic we did last episode, which was about death and what happens and how our loved ones are dealing with that. Because Day of the Dead actually celebrates our loved ones and our ancestors who have passed. It's actually a beautiful holiday. It is celebrated in the Hispanic culture, and it is celebrated from November 1st to the 2nd. And I do love this. This is about keeping our loved ones' memories alive after they have left us here in the physical plane. And this is the one where they have the beautiful decorations. It's so bright and flowery, like the skulls. It's something that's very beautiful. It's not scary. I think it's just this beautiful celebration. So, and one example, if you haven't seen it, I suggest you watch the movie Coco, the Disney movie Coco. We love it in this house, and it is all about that. Have you seen that movie, Copper?
You're going to cry. I know we love that movie, and I cry every single time. Every single time.
Oh yeah, we love it. My daughter has been asking me since like spring, can we watch the movie? I'm like, well, can we save it so we can watch it during the season? But it is just a beautiful example of expression and how this holiday is celebrated. So with that being said, I just wanted to give some attention on that holiday as we go into today's topic. Because today's topic is, again, following up last episode's topic, which was about death and what happens to our loved ones and what they're experiencing after the fact. But now I want to talk about communicating with your loved one after they've passed. What are the signs really like? How can I have a relationship with my loved one who has crossed over? Because the truth is, you do not need a medium. You absolutely do not need one to have a relationship with them. So today, I kind of want to teach you and talk about all the different ways to understand the signs that are coming from them and how to continue that relationship after they're gone. So I have created this little list that we're going to go down. And these are kind of all the different types of ways that spirit communicates. So first, I want to talk with the most common way. And this is the easiest way for spirit to communicate with their loved ones, which is through dreams. The reason why it is easiest for our loved ones to communicate with us during a dream is because our active mind is shut down. And so we're not just going all day where you can't take in the subtle signs from them, or you're not over rationalizing everything. You're just there and you're just absorbing and connecting. And so that's why it's the easiest way to connect. So if you've ever had one of those dreams where you see your loved one and you wake up and you're just like, man, that just felt so real. I just had that moment with my loved one, whether they just stood there and they just gave you a feeling, or whether you had a conversation with them, or whether you were able to hug them in your dream. When you wake up and you feel that feeling, that, man, that just felt real. Trust it, because I guarantee you it was. And when we're too busy in our day lives to hear them and see the signs they're sending you, they're going to go into your dreams and do it for you. Now, no, it's not really something you can control. They're probably not going to come in every night during a dream. I mean, yes, we would love that and to see them every single night in that state, but they will from time to time, or at least that one time, just to bring you some closure, or for you to create that or to create that experience for you, so that you know they're still present and you could feel their love. One of the other, this is to me is like a really fun, interesting sign that they like to do to kind of get our attention. And this is through animals or insects. And so this actually can also be pretty common. I mean, honestly, have you ever kind of seen a particular animal and do you see them often and wonder if it could be one of your loved ones? I mean, and kind of to break this down by example, so one of the most common animal symbols or signs from a loved one is a cardinal. It's birds, honestly, birds. Cardinal is one of those big symbols of your loved ones coming back and just bringing you a sign that they are there and with you. Some other ones could be hummingbirds. That's another popular one. Even a blue jay. That's kind of in our family. The cardinal and the blue jay are ones that we see in for our family members. It could also be anything. It could also be like elephants. Do you see elephants? Do you see squirrels, dogs? Obviously, some of these animals are common that you would see anywhere, but there's something different about it. And I'm going to explain the difference in just a minute. So some of the other ones too, they also include insects. This is really big for me too. Dragonflies, that is my thing. So dragonflies are my thing. And actually for me, I know I'm talking about me for a minute. For me, a dragonfly isn't a symbol from one of my past loved ones. It's actually symbols from my guides. But that is just the symbol that I have connected with my guides. And that's how they come and tell me that they're with me, they're guiding me, they're supporting me. However that is going. But again, it could be butterflies, it could be ladybugs. These are other common symbols that your loved ones will come back to show you that they are here. So it also doesn't have to be an actual physical living animal. So it's not that you see butterflies often. It doesn't have to be a living butterfly that comes and lands on your shoulder just to say, this was my mother and she's here to comfort me, which absolutely that can happen. But I am just trying to open up your mind a little bit more onto other ways that our loved ones will also bring those signs to you, because it's also the non-physical things, whether you often see pictures of this animal. You walk by someone and you're having a conversation, and maybe all of a sudden conversation comes up about your mom and you relate her to butterflies, and all of a sudden you notice this person has a butterfly tattoo. Just all of a sudden you notice it and you're just like, is that what? But I just mean these are different ways that it does happen. So it's really paying attention to these subtle signs. I also want to explain when it comes to animals and relating it with our loved ones that honestly, this really isn't about your loved one coming back and reincarnating as that bird, as the elephant, as the butterfly. It is your loved one sending them to you, representing them and their love. So I just wanted you to understand that you may not hold a conversation with a butterfly, but it is, again, it's the symbol that they're sending there to kind of hold that. And then they kind of release it, and that's when they'll fly away and kind of left to do their own business again, which is kind of a fun notion, actually, to think about that your loved ones can take over another small living being. I'm talking about animal or insect here, people, just to get them to come and visit you for a moment, to look at you, for them to see you through their eyes for a moment, and then they flutter away and they do their own thing again. Pretty powerful. I think so anyway. With those common signs of our loved ones that they send to us, with the dreams and the animals and the insects, I also want to talk about the other ways our loved ones communicate with us through our own senses. And the first one is our thoughts. I'm telling you, it really is an extremely powerful form of communication with your loved ones. I know it sounds so simple, and it really is. And often we find ourselves overthinking things too much. Does that sound familiar? I don't know, Copper. Do you tend to overthink things?
Rude to call me out like this. Yeah.
Well, I just meant we all do, and so do I. But we do. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. And the truth is, and this is part of what I do as a medium, is that they come in and they infuse our thoughts. It is easy when you don't have a physical form, because when we communicate and as our light being selves outside of this, off of this plane and out of these bodies, that is how we communicate. It's all telepathy type communication. And so they have that power to infuse it in us. But again, we are so dense here on this plane that we try to rationalize things and we get too far into our head and we question everything. But now I think it's time, especially if you are looking to communicate with your loved one, is to sit with some of those thoughts for a little bit, and let's at least start trusting some of them or playing with it a little bit for a minute. At least play with the idea that it really could be them. And it is going to take practice to understand what is your own imagination and what is your loved one. And so one of the things, just to kind of maybe help you understand what the difference is, a lot of the times a loved one will implant a memory and play it in your head. And so you might be doing a regular mundane chore, like you're sitting there doing the dishes like you normally do, probably running through the checklist of all the things you need to do today, or do I need to get from the grocery store, or my kids are screaming and I need a break. I don't know. So all the normal things that you think about. But all of a sudden, it's just kind of like it's interrupted. All those thoughts get interrupted. And all of a sudden, you have the memory of your loved one playing through your head. And you're replaying a moment within your life together that was beautiful and it was nice. Because while maybe you're sitting there thinking about how stressed you are or how busy you are, and all of a sudden you play this memory of your dad, all of a sudden your dad pops in your mind and you remember those memories of him coming in and to relax you, saying, stop sweating the small stuff. Like, you got this. And in that moment, trust and believe that that's really your dad coming through, telling you and giving you the same advice that he would give you if he were alive there with you. And right now, I am feeling so much emotion in this. And I am expressing this in this moment because I feel someone out there listening needs to hear this. And that this is really them coming through and telling you that moment you had that thought about him, he is telling you right now it was him. Wow, didn't expect that. This is a very mediumship moment that's coming through for somebody. I don't know who it is, but I know that if you're listening right now and you heard that phrase come through and it hit you like a ton of bricks, like, holy cow, that just happened to me. This is him coming through. I did not have that as a written example or anything to come through in this. And I feel this very strongly as a very strong male coming through to tell somebody that don't sweat the small stuff. I am really there, and really let go and trust that I am helping you and you are being supported. So as you can see, most of the time, our loved ones are coming through to plant these memories to bring you comfort and joy. It isn't to bring the sadness back that they're gone, or to start replaying their passing and all the guilts and everything else that you associate with it. They are trying to get you to go back and remember all the beautiful things and beautiful times and memories you had together, because that is what they want you to focus on. That's all they want you to focus on. And so one of the other senses and ways that our loved ones will communicate is they go through sounds. This is interesting. And if you're talking about clairs and all of these, we can put out in the psychic form of clairs. This would be clairaudience, is like hearing, which is really fun and spooky when you hear things that aren't really there. Um, but I want to break that down for you too about what's spooky and not spooky, because just know your loved ones are not going to creep you out. We're going to go there in just a second. So one of the things that could happen, or that you've experienced or can experience, are hearing the voices of our loved ones. I know for a second this might sound spooky, but it's really not. I promise you. Because when it's your loved one, it's comforting. It is filled with love, and it is not to scare you. So when this happens, I know most often people will try to rationalize it. Or, you know what, like, you're waking up, or you have a lot of sounds going on in your house. You're like, that just couldn't be them. It's my imagination. I'm imagining them at this point. So you begin to wonder if you actually really heard them, but normally we'll just write it off to an outside noise or your brain making it up. It's going to be subtle, guys, and we need to trust that. It's subtle, and we need to take that in. And this also goes back down to trusting. You know, one of the other examples that goes with the sound element here is kind of like a living memory. This can happen too. let's say, for example, you're in bed and you're just waking up, like you're barely even functioning at this point. You're just laying there, but all of a sudden you start hearing sounds out in your kitchen and you live alone, okay? And you hear sounds in your kitchen and but it's not just the sound you're hearing, but you're getting kind of a feeling that goes with it and what all those senses that kind of go with it. And it sounds like your mom making breakfast, just like she used to do when you were little. You almost hear the same noises happening and the pots or the pans going or whatever it may be. But the moment you come to like full awake and you're like, someone's in my house, or could it be that? Or maybe you're wondering if you were dreaming and you wake up, you're like, okay, maybe that was a dream, or I must be really tired that I'm hearing these things. Trust that that was really them for that moment, bringing in that little memory just to say, good morning. I love you. I'm still around you. Or maybe you're watching a movie with your family and all of your family is in the same room and you're watching a movie and then all of a sudden you hear a child's voice coming from another room and you're kind of like, whoa, what was that? Or maybe you're thinking it was the movie and you're hearing something around. But sometimes, especially after grieving a loss of a child, we always wonder if we're planting things and wanting to hear their laughter again one more time or whatever it may be. I am telling you to sit there for a moment and trust that it was really them giving you that most pleasant sound, just letting you know that they have not left you. It is a beautiful gift, and just trust that it is a beautiful gift just for you. Another one is not just within the living memories and hearing voices. For me, one symbol that comes in for me for one of my deceased relatives is wind chimes. So when I hear wind chimes sometimes, and but it's not windy outside, but I hear wind chimes going. Or maybe it is windy and I hear wind chimes, but I had just had this memory pop in my head about the loved one. And then all of a sudden I hear these wind chimes. And so for me, it's always that follow up or that validation that that was me. This is me. I'm just letting you know that I'm here and I love you and I support you. So, because for me, the wind chimes is connected to that loved one because they had lots of them. They made wind chimes. It was a big deal. And it was a memory associated with my childhood to this person. You may have something else in a sound wave that is connected to someone that you love. Maybe your past loved one worked on cars and that's you used to hear the engines revving or they did racing or something like that, and so maybe you start hearing those noises again, following up a memory or a thought. So start trusting that that's them that are validating those signs for you just to prove that they are there with you. So one of the other like common senses people experience are smells. It's the phantom smells. Whether you smell your grandmother's very identifiable perfume all of a sudden, like you're just sitting there watching TV and all of a sudden you just get this whiff, just this really quick whiff of that sweet rose perfume or musky, I don't know, or the cologne your grandfather wear that you're just like, whoa, too much. And that you just get hit with it all of a sudden. Or the cigar smoke or their pipe smoke all of a sudden you randomly get and no one in your house smokes. These are those phantom smells that they'll also bring through just to trigger memories in association with them. Sometimes you might find it that they might actually be real smells. But I'm telling you, if you had the thought of them and then you smell that, start trusting that it is them validating that they are with you and around you. The most important sense that we need to talk about when we're talking about communicating and receiving signs from our loved ones, it's your feeling. Because attached to everything that you see or hear or smell in any way, shape, or form, it's going to be the feeling that is associated to it. This is what is going to prove to you that it is going to be a loved one. So when you have an experience, whether it is seeing the cardinal land outside your kitchen window while you're doing dishes, and when you look up and you see that, and it's that, not the scary, it's the, did I just really see that take my breath away for a moment? Like, did that just really happen? That is a precursor to validating that is an experience of communicating with your loved one. When your hair starts standing up on the back of your neck or your arms, when you see that cardinal, these are all the different parts of our system and that knowing and the feeling deep down that we know it is them. We need to start trusting and going back to just these simple forms of our senses because underneath it all, in our subconscious, we already know. And the other part is when you're experiencing some of these things, like whether you are having multiple things happen to you in your home, again, some of us were kind of worried about it. Like, am I haunted? Like, what's happening? Is just stop for a moment and feel it out. Feel it. Don't let your head get in the way and start saying, oh my goodness, this could be something bad or whatever it may be. Take a moment and ask and feel, could this be my loved one? Is this a sign from them? And in a moment, you're going to get a wave of feeling where you just know it feels like love. The fear starts to go away and you feel loved and you feel comforted and you feel supported underneath it all, because that is what it's going to feel like when it's a loved one trying to connect with you. Now, with that being said, too, just know that you also have to remember their personality in life, because they will carry part of that personality over. It's again, it's a way of proof of connecting with you. So if you have an uncle who liked to play jokes and tricks on you, okay, the likelihood is they're going to continue to do that in the afterlife, because of course, like it's like the biggest game in the world and they're going to play with it. Okay. But they're not gonna try to scare you, they're gonna try to play with you in that way. So if your lights keep turning on and off, but it doesn't feel threatening, it could be that uncle that normally would try to freak you out, but it's, again, playful and loving. So trust the feeling that is behind the activity. So you gotta go with that, and you have to start trusting that part. It's really going in and going into that gut instinct, and you're gonna feel it. You're going to feel the warmth. Now, if it doesn't feel warm and fuzzy in a loved one, then that's other conversations we'll have in the future. Okay. Just letting you know, I'm not going to leave you hanging out there too. So underneath it all, the big things that you want to look at when you are having these signs with your loved ones is you're looking at the synchronicity and timing, because honestly, it's everything. When I said you have those moments when it happens, that's the timing. And is it happening when the synchronicity, like, did you have the thought? Okay. So you have that plan in memory. And then all of a sudden, did you get a whiff of that grandma's perfume? And then you saw the butterfly in the window that you always associate to grandma because she loved butterflies. That's synchronicity. And along with the timing and all of that, where it happens in a short amount of time, like in the same day, you would have all this. Normally, it's not going to happen like bam, 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 one after the other. Like it's all within a 2-minute window. Not normally in that time frame. It can happen. Maybe you did experience that, but in a longer sense of it. Maybe it's within a day or two and you have all those experience into it. And then you can just connect those pieces together to validate to you that it really is them coming through for you. So the key to all of it, though, the key to all of it, actually communicating with your loved ones, is trust. It really is. It's trust. Signs from spirit are usually very subtle. Sometimes we expect the big, big thing to happen, like, can you move this piece of jewelry that I know is yours? That's not very easy for our loved ones who have crossed over to do. Some can, it just takes a lot of time and energy for them to do that. And truly, if you're really wanting to have more interaction with them, it's got to be a little bit smaller. It's going to be more subtle, which is probably why we question it often. But above all, when we're talking about trust and we're talking about your loved ones, no matter how many people that tell you that it's not possible, or what you were experiencing is your grief, or that it's all in your head and you shouldn't talk like that because that might mean you have some mental stuff going on. Don't even for 1 second let other people take those beautiful blessings away from you. If it felt true for you, then it was meant for you. Trust your feelings and take it as your sign. So I really hope you found all of these beautiful tips and me breaking this down for you. I really hope it helps in really understanding how to connect with your loved ones. Maybe you have already been experiencing all of these things. Well, I'm hoping that if you haven't connected the pieces yet, that this will help you understand a little bit more on how our loved ones come to visit us and communicate with us. So, if you haven't already been having some of these experiences and you want to connect with your loved one more, start creating a game with them, start talking to them, write it down, think about it. It's all infused. If you start thinking about them, they will come to you. Okay. So think about reasonable, I want to put that reasonable requests or signs from your loved ones. Don't ask for them to all of a sudden bring you, like, I don't know, brand new car, or I don't know.
Winning lottery tickets.
Yeah, I need winning lottery tickets and they need to be like 7 sevens in a row, or I don't know, whatever it may be. Don't be ridiculous, okay? Obviously, you want something that can be validating, but you can do that in small ways, okay? Maybe it's a song. You wanna hear this one song that you know that was yours together, and it will come on. that happens. That's a big way that they'll do that too. All of a sudden you keep hearing that song playing on the radio or in random places, or you're driving and then the car next to you is playing that song. Like, that is wonderful, and also signs and validations from our loved ones when they bring that through. Also understand that it is hard for them to manifest in this physical dimension because it is very dense and they're very high vibrating. So to ask them to just manifest while you're awake just to show that they are standing there in front of you is probably not going to happen. That can absolutely happen in your dreams. So maybe you ask them to come to you in a dream just to show that they are there with you. But they're going to work their hardest to do that for you. Also remember that time is different for them on the other side. Time doesn't exist. So sometimes you need to put a time frame on things. And it shouldn't be like, right now, I need you to give me a sign right this second. Sometimes, again, it takes them a little work. It takes them a little practice to be able to, again, bring you signs in this dimension. So, within the next 3 days, I would love for you to bring me a sign. You can claim a sign or just bring me one, but make sure I know it's you. And then it's going to be your job to not question it every time they send you one because it wasn't big enough. They're going to be subtle and they're going to be beautiful, and you have to trust the feeling behind it. So that does mean you need to slow down a minute, take a deep breath, and feel it out. And then take that with you. So just know and always remember that your loved ones are always with you. Trust what you experience and what you feel, because 9 times out of 10, it is going to be them. Even though they are not physically with you anymore, they are still able to connect and work with you and guide you in this life. All you have to do is ask, because sometimes it is about free will and you need to ask for them to be present with you. So let's start paying attention and stop questioning and reasoning all of their hard work away. Sometimes it's just about trusting and knowing. Just feel your way through it and know that you are being guided and loved by your loved ones. So try some of these techniques, feel your way through all of this. And I really, really hope you enjoy connecting with your loved ones now. You guys have a fabulous Halloween and Dia de los Muertos. Again, hope I didn't butcher that. But enjoy this season as much as I do, hopefully. Until next time, my friends, take care. With so much love and gratitude, I want to thank you for listening to this week's episode. My hope today is that the message continues to guide you along your path to healing. You can find About Healing Podcast on Pandora, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, or any of your favorite places to listen in. Follow and share the podcast on Facebook and Instagram, where you can find healing guidance, quotes, tips, insights, and chances to win free stuff. To ask questions or share comments, email me at abouthealingpodcast@gmail.com, or feel free to always reach me on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, be kind to yourself.